Alright, how's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be breaking down for you 5 reasons why you don't want to start your social media, why you're afraid to post, why you're afraid to pick up the camera, why you don't want to do any of it, and why it's all just in your head. But make sure you stick around to the end because I'm actually going to do a breakdown of the most common times when each of these 5 are going to impact you the most in your YouTube and social media creator journey. So that being said, let's hop into it with point number 1. You are scared what people will think of you, aka the internet will think X or Y of me. The internet is going to think that I look stupid. The internet is going to think that my lighting sucks. The internet is going to think that my handwriting sucks. There are so many reasons that you might think someone else might think something of you. And at the end of the day, what you need to realize is that we are always being judged. We are always judging others. It is a natural part of the human being life cycle. And at the end of the day, if we didn't get judgment from others, we would never improve and become better. It's all about the type of judgment that you let come in versus the stuff that you let go. If there's constructive criticism, of course, you should take it in. But if there are things like that, however, if you are externally validated by people giving you compliments, but then at the same time you also let anything in, the issue here is if you are externally validated, which means if you allow other people's opinions to affect how you feel, that is the problem here. So you guys are going to see on each of these points that in blue there is the initial thought or the thing that's making you scared. Now in red I have here the external validation that you guys are basically feeling, which is the problem. So the problem here is external validation. What does that mean? It basically means that you like to get how you feel, how you should feel about yourself, your opinions, your emotions of yourself from other people. If you are a good person, you only feel like a good person when someone else says you've done something good. If you are a bad person, you only feel like a bad person when someone else says you've done something bad. You can see how that's wrong, right? Because we're not allowing ourselves to choose how we feel. We're allowing other people to do that. So the first thing here with this one is you just need to realize that over time, the solution is really just getting over it and building confidence in yourself through just doing things. I think most of us have some general self-confidence. If you can think of anything that you're roughly successful at, maybe it's going to the gym, maybe it's your job, think of anything like that and think of being on camera as the same way. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good you are at recording on camera or how other people think of you. It matters how you think of yourself, just like it matters how you feel of yourself and your body when you go to the gym and when you go to your job. All right, let's move on to point number 2. So number 2 is you are insecure about yourself. Now this is a little bit different. In fact, it's the opposite of point number 1, which I'll get into in a second. But firstly, the initial thought here is that I am not X, Y, or Z enough for YouTube. So now, instead, and this could be YouTube, any type of social media, YouTube is my primary platform, so that's what I'm going to focus on. But basically what you're saying is, instead of the internet is not going to think I am X enough, it's now, I don't think I am X enough for this. You're thinking, I'm not good enough for this. Now, if you've gotten past point 1 and you don't care about what other people think, the hard part about this is you still might have issues recording your own videos. For example, when I recorded this video recently, it's one of my most high quality videos, 5 social media mistakes that are costing you millions. It's one of my most recent videos, most high quality. I spent so much time, hours, and money making this video good, but I also never thought it was good enough. I put so much time and effort into the scripting, I perfected it, I spent too much money and time on it for it to flop, and as you can see, it only has 141 views. And the issue there is I was being a perfectionist. I was thinking my videos weren't good enough rather than me just posting, rather than me just making videos like I'm doing right now and just going for it multiple times a week, getting in the repetitions. So the problem here again is that you have an internal insecurity problem. But the solution is just day-to-day improvement, and also honestly, it just fluctuates. At the end of the day, we're always going to have days that are ups and downs. We're always going to have days where we're feeling like, hey man, today just sucks. Like, at the end of the day, I don't feel super confident in myself. At the end of the day, literally today, I'm recording this video after probably flying 12 hours around. And look, I know I'm in Hawaii. I'm having a great time on this trip with my family, but we just flew in and I told myself I would get this video done. But I am so behind on sleep and we have flown on planes for 12 hours. We've just eaten food today for like the second time. It's been a long day and I don't want to record this video right now, but I know I need to. And the point for number 2 is that regardless of how you feel about yourself internally, the more important thing is that you stick to it and be consistent every single day. So that's the solution for point number 2. Moving on to point number 3. So 3 is that it will never work, and all this effort that I'm going to do is going to be for nothing. I'm not going to have a return on my effort, for example, so an ROE rather than an ROI, if that makes sense. And the main issue here is you are so focused on outcome-based thinking. So what that means is you're pretty much only worried about the outcome. You're not thinking about the inputs. You're not thinking about putting in that work consistently like we just talked about in point number 2, right? We just got over the fact that you should stop caring about what other people think and you should start caring about what you think. But regardless of what you think, even more importantly than that, you should care about getting the work done every single day, right? And when you're saying that I'm afraid it's never going to work, all this effort's going to be nothing and it's not going to go anywhere, you're completely focused on the outcome, which is fair, right? If you think about it, we're also focused on, okay, I'm doing YouTube, I am making all these videos on my YouTube channel, I'm putting out all these shorts. For what? For me to have 180 subscribers, like I've done this stuff for years and I've taken a setback and I've been doing social media for 6 years, and many of you guys aren't even in my position, and you want to get to the point where you're saying, dude, I want to quit, this isn't working, I'm not getting the outcome that I want. But what you forget, and what I forget, having done this for years and I'm still starting at less than 200 subscribers, feeling way undervalued for what I should deserve, is that it's not about the outputs, it's about the inputs. And again, that kind of goes back to point number 2. So I'm going to break this down a little bit further, because although yes, it's about the outputs, it's about the inputs that you get in this video. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place here. At the end of the day, what it really means is you don't have a deep understanding of the value that should go into this video. At the end of the day, you here are stuck in outcome-based thinking. And what that means is you don't have a fundamental understanding of the value of YouTube in and of itself. So before I even get into the whole thing, back to point number 2 of just focusing on the consistent inputs, let's skip ahead to point number 4 real quick, which is don't have time, or I have too much other stuff going on to do YouTube. And this is the same sort of issue. You're basically saying, I'm not willing to put in any of the effort, I don't have the time to do this, and because of that, I don't think any of this is worth it, and it's never actually going to get me an output. So with both of these, 3 and 4, I've got a little bit of like an arrow here. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm just going to highlight between 3 and 4. They're basically connected because they're both basically saying you don't understand the value of YouTube and how much that can provide for you if you just put in the effort. So what you need to understand here is you have a lack of solution awareness. And the core thing you're missing is that you just don't understand the value and proof that YouTube actually has. And what I'd recommend in that case is you actually look up some of your favorite YouTubers, some of your favorite, I don't know, influencers, creators, whatever it might be. It's probably not going to be me. I don't have the experience that you're looking for yet as far as being a creator myself. I am a social media marketing agency owner, of course, and I have lots of experience with clients. But as far as being the personal brand guy, we're not quite there yet. So what I'd suggest doing is looking up your favorite creators, like, I don't know if that's like Eric, Mr. Beast, or maybe it's more niche people. I can't think of a ton off the top of my head since I'm so tired, but at the end of the day, just come up with some of your favorite creators, imagine the success that they have, imagine the amount of money that they have, and now actually break it down on a specific level. Like, do your research, do your due diligence. Okay, does Iman Gaji make, I don't know, let's say $10 million a year off his YouTube channel? Would that be worth it? And of course, everyone's going to say yes, and then you're going to say, well, but I don't have the time to get to the level that he's at. That's fine. But like, if you broke it down to the point where he was making maybe $1 million a year off of YouTube, and then you also broke down how long it took him to get to that point where he's making $1 million a year, as long as that $1 million aligns with your goal and the time frame is now understood in your mind, which is, okay, it looks like Iman Gaji took to make $1 million a year. It took him 4 years on YouTube, something like that, right? It took him 4 years. So if I stuck to YouTube for 4 years, and if anything was maybe even more consistent and had the help of a mentor like Ethan or somebody else to do that, then I could probably get there a lot faster, right? And at least, at minimum, get there in 4 years, but at least now you have the expectation so that your mindset can't be dropped any lower than that. So you have a better understanding when you actually look at other successful creators. You can gauge a better idea of what success looks like and how long it takes. So if you have that fundamental understanding of not only the value and the amount of money and how much goals you can achieve and what's possible, but actually how long it takes and what's realistic, then you will be able to go and achieve so much more, because now you have expectations that are realistic and you can't be disappointed anymore. So that basically answers 3 and 4. If you have the expectation and you understand the value, you will make time for 4. You will make, space in your schedule, and it won't be for nothing, because you will stick with it until it works. You will stick with it until you get that ROI that you're looking for. With that being said, let's move on to point number 5, which is I don't have the equipment, space, or resources to record. Now, this is just a quick thing. I'm just going to go over this one super fast so we can get into the timeline here of all these points. And the basic thing here is quality over consistency. That's your problem. At first, that sounds like a good thing. Many people tell themselves, I want to have a super high quality video. I got to plan this whole thing out. I got to write this all out on a whiteboard. I spent already too much time making this video. And the reality is you want to be consistent before you focus on quality. If you're focusing on quality first and you don't even know how to post consistently, you don't even know how to put yourself out there without failing and quitting after a month, then what's the point of having high quality, right? If you're just going to quit after a few videos that are the best videos in the world but no one watches them, there's no point. So start with being consistent, start with posting often like I'm trying to do here at a lower quality video rate, and then you can improve the quality over time when you have the resources to. So then you're not biting off more than you can chew. And again, the solution there overall is just start now. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So with that being said, now I'm going to do a quick breakdown here on the iPad to show you guys what the average timeline looks like. So let's break it down basically in a sense of this is your timeline. You're starting at 0, whatever it might be, subscribers, dollars per month, whatever. We're just going to say you start at 0. Now, your end goal at the end of this arrow, pretty much, we'll just say it's I want to make X amount of dollars. I want to make X amount of followers, subscribers, whatever it is. I'll just put X goal. Okay? So you can pick what you want the goal to be. Maybe it's $1 million. I'll just put that in a quote there as an example. But you can pick. Okay? But as far as the common problems that you guys are going to face along this timeline, this is what you guys stuck around to the end of the video for, and I'm going to make it worth it. Don't worry. You're going to understand that this is not just some linear thing, but it's also different than what you'd expected. So, firstly, at the beginning, before you even start, when you're at 0, this is the hardest part, because the reason why is actually you experience every single problem at the beginning. You experience 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, if we do a quick rundown, I'm scared of what people are going to think of me. I'm insecure about myself. I'm afraid it's never going to work. I don't have time for this. I don't have the equipment for this. These are all problems you're going to experience before you ever even get started. But it's more complicated than this. Stick with me here. So many of these you can break out before you ever even get started. I believe 3 through 5, you can get over the it's never going to work and the I don't have time and the I don't have the equipment. Eventually you're going to realize, okay, I can probably just stick to this, because now you're going to understand, once you've gone through 3 to 5, the value of YouTube, the value of being consistent and not needing the perfect equipment. But for 1 to 2, what you're going to realize is, so 2, just as a reminder, is you are insecure about yourself. Now, that one is, like we said, it's just day to day. So you're going to have to deal with number 2 every single day consistently. So 2 is going to look more like this. It's just going to be ups and downs and 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 ups and downs. You get the idea. All the way until you achieve your goal. It's going to be there forever. Number 2, you're always going to be insecure about yourself. Some days you're going to feel better about yourself, other days. So that's one you're just going to have to stay on top of. But the point here, the solution, all right, is consistency. I can't even spell right now. Consistency. So that's the solution to number 2. And now for the last one, number 1 is you're going to have to deal with this one a lot at the beginning, which is you're scared of what people think. However, this one's going to go away after a certain amount of time. So all you have to do is stick to it at the beginning. I would say probably for the first 1 to 3 months. It's different for most people, but I would say let's just imagine this is a 3-month long bracket here. So we'll put 3 months, or I guess just for simplicity, right? The problem was number 1. So the solution here is going to be consistent for about a 3-month period, right? And what that's going to do is less about even consistency now. This is going to build you confidence. If you post for 3 months straight, you're going to start becoming confident in who you are. You're going to stop believing that, the opinions of other people and being externally validated matters. And what you're going to start focusing on instead is how secure you are about yourself, which is just the day-to-day commitment to consistency, which brings us back to number 2. And then occasionally, of course, you guys might experience bits and pieces of 3, 4, and 5 later. But 1 and 2 are the biggest ones. Get over 1, get into just dealing with 2 every single day, get over 3, 4, and 5 right now. And screenshot this if you guys need to. Go back to the other one, screenshot it also. I hope this was super valuable for you guys. I know this wasn't the most perfect video. I'm going to revisit it, but for anyone who does watch this full video, please leave a like and subscribe if you found it was helpful. I'm going to try to remake it someday so it's higher quality than this. I'm just another kid trying to make it myself, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.